everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Chris back with another Rumour Has It video where we're talking about players linked to the football club in the transfer window. My word, it's a busy window already. Young players signed, superstar Italians signed, loads of players linked day in, day out. Newcastle United are definitely going to try and get their business done early by the looks of it. I think Eddie wants a couple of players in before the start of pre-season. There's already one it looks like it's nearly done, which is Sandro Tonoli. And then there might be another one coming in as well soon, whether it be midfield or defence. But there's loads of names being linked. We're going to try and cover as many as we can. It's all just speculation in the media. We don't do ITK here. We don't make up bollocks just for people to click like and subscribe and everything else. We don't do that, no. We just talk about players who are linked in the press. And generally, the players who are linked in the press, there's a real good chance that they're going to come off just like Sandro Tonoli. We did a Rumour Has It video, and 2 or 3 days later, bang, the deal's nearly done. So there you go. That's exactly what we do here. So no comments about ITK. It's not the crap that we do here. So now we've cleared that up, let's get stuck right into this video. Just before I do, a little reminder, if you're just checking us out for the first time, thank you very much. Welcome on board. Click subscribe. We're on 3,950 subs. We're so close to the 4K, which is where we want to be for the start of the season. Smash the button and come and join us. You won't regret it. Loads of great stats and chats about transfer targets about Newcastle United and loads of other stuff. And the occasional rant as well about what's going on in the world of football. So loads of content, never more. Nice variety, nice mix. Come and join us. So who am I talking about this time? Well, I'm talking about a defensive target and already a Premier League proven player. Now, this is common knowledge that Newcastle United want to shore up the backup, I think, for Fabian Schär. Backup stroke competition for his spot. So the right-footed centre-half area. Now, if we look at the other side of the pitch, we talked about a couple of left-backs already. Dan Burn can use his left foot. He's a left-sided centre-half who can play left-back. So I very much think Dan Burn will be the cover for the new left-back and Sven Botman, but that leaves you a little bit short for the right-hand side cover. Now, I'm not sure what's going to happen with Jamal Lascelles, if I'm honest with you. He's been a great servant to the club. He still speaks very highly of the club. He's still technically the captain, I suppose you want to call him that, off the pitch, whereas Trippier's a captain on the pitch. I don't know if Lascelles will be here next season, and I think if we sign a player like this lad we're going to talk about in a minute, I think that might just help hasten Lascelles' exit. Now, he's a decent player for either a lower league Premier League side or lower place Premier League side, or a championship team, or a team that's just been promoted themselves, because he's got a lot of leadership capabilities. He's still got something to offer, but I just don't think he's good enough for where we're going as Newcastle United. So this lad, for me, would probably knock him down the pecking order and possibly out of the club. So let's get stuck into who I'm talking about. It's this lad right here. It's Joachim Andersen, who plays for Crystal Palace. So Danish international, 20-plus caps. Originally came on loan at Fulham, was excellent, even despite Fulham struggling. Looked very composed, very calm. He's great on the ball. He's got a great range of passing, good positional sense, and just a really calm and influence back there. Very much a thinking man centre half, very much like Fabian Schär. And they do share a lot of similarities, except for the fact that Andersen doesn't go down with 4 or 5 head injuries per game. Love you, Fabi, but you really do that. But what Joachim Andersen does do is live in Darwin Núñez's head rent-free, if you remember that incident, which was absolutely hilarious, by the way. But I'd love to see him do that in a black and white shirt, especially against that clippity-clop bastard. So it'll make me chuckle immensely. So we're going to have a look at the comparisons between the two. So you can see there, the big thing is the age gap. Now, Andersen is very similar to Schär, but he's only 27, whereas Schär's 31. Last season, they played a lot of games between them. 41 for Schär and 40 of them must start, with Andersen 33 and only 21 must start. So you can see he's struggling to kind of get his place in that Palace side. But a lot of uncertainty at Palace. Vieira went, Hodgson came in, and all this other stuff. So there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of different directions Palace went in one season. So that could probably prevent them playing more game time. He's got 1 goal and no assists versus Fabi's 1 goal and 3 assists. Tackling per game, they're quite comparable, as you can see, 136 to 132. Interceptions, Fabi just edges it a fair bit there, 146 to Andersen's 0.78. Blocks, they're quite similar. Clearances, 6 for Andersen and only 3.90 for Schär. Schär likes to bring the ball out, really, so I think he's that kind of a centre-half. Aerials, 1, they're quite decent there. You can see they're both kind of run about 3 headers a game there. The true tackle stats are quite similar. The passing is very similar, and the pass completion is also very similar. Progressive passes, you can see there, they're both quite progressive centre-halves to play forward rather than back, which is exactly what we need in this team anyway. So I think this is a very smart bit of business, and I'll explain a little bit more why in a minute. But looking at the more detailed stats, the red, ambers, and greens, I know you guys look at quite a lot. So looking at the ambers and the reds, now bear in mind he's compared to the top 5 right-sided centre-halves in the top 5 Premier Leagues, or top 5 leagues around Europe, elite leagues, Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, Liga, and that kind of thing. So his tackling is a little bit down, so he might lose more tackles or not make as many tackles as some of the other centre halves do. So I'm not overly worried about that. His interceptions and blocks are a little bit down, but his clearances and passing, and his kind of switches and his aerials, his touches and his lack of errors shows me that he is a very, very decent footballer, and he gets dispossessed very little as a centre half. And you need that. You need someone who can play, because Botman can play, and you want somebody next to Botman who can play. And if for whatever reason Botman and Shaw both weren't available, and we had a centre back pairing of Andersen and Byrne, that's still a decent centre back pairing. If you're playing against a Premier League side, or you're playing in a Carabao Cup game, or an FA Cup game, that's a really good centre half pairing there that can step in beneath your top two centre halves. So I'm all for this. I think the only thing that really puts me off this is what price Palace would command for him. Obviously the Palace managerial situation is still a little bit uncertain at the moment, where I think Hodgson isn't sure if he wants to come back. He's maybe got a game of shuffleboard planned in a retirement home or a cruise. Sorry, Roy, I'm only joking. I do respect Roy, to be fair, but he's not sure if he's coming back. Palace are talking about Potter, and Potter's having to break up the game and that kind of stuff. So you don't know what's going on there. So maybe Anderson's feeling a little bit uneasy. And also there's growing links to the Torino centre half Per Shares that Palace apparently are really interested in taking, who would effectively almost knock Andersen down the pecking order. So I think for Joachim Andersen, if he has the chance to go and play for a Champions League side, a top 4 Premier League side last season, at 27 years old, I think he'll take it. But it's all about what Palace want from them. They paid 17 million from them. They'll easily want their money back plus the VAT. So if they're wanting 25 million quid from that's not a bad bit of business. But if it starts going north of 30, I would pull the plug and I would go for a younger option on the continent. You get a much better player. Sven Botman's a prime example. You could end up with a player like that. Even Anderson himself, when Fulham brought him in as well on loan, to be fair. So let us know what you guys think in the comments below, whether you think Anderson would be a good signing or not. I think it's a smart bit of business, giving you that depth. If you're going to be playing on those 4 fronts, then for me, you have to have depth in your squad. You have to have a lad that can play a Premier League or a Carabao Cup game, or even a European game as well, depending on the nature of the game and who's injured and who's not injured, that kind of a thing. But I think it's a smart bit of business, but we shouldn't get our pants pulled down by Palace. So drop a comment in. We always like to hear from you guys, and we always do our best to reply to you. We're not a kind of channel that ignores people. We always appreciate the time it takes for someone to put a comment in, the effort it takes to put a comment in. So we always try and reply to you. As I mentioned at the start, if you fancy subscribing, smash the button, come and join us. We're so close to 4K. You can help get us there before the season starts. Like the video as well. Help get it on YouTube. We'll be back with another transfer rumour video soon, because there's that bloody many of them. We'll try and cover as many as we can. So keep your eyes peeled. Hit the notification bell. You'll not miss out on them. Have a cracking day wherever you are, everyone, and we'll catch you later. Cheers now.